With the new President Harding in office and Attorney General Palmer deposed, the first Red Scare is coming to an end. The general mood towards communism, anarchism and the Soviet Union in general seems to have vastly improved. The newspapers are no longer reporting hysterically about infiltrators behind every door. And the concern of our political leadership instead is facing more and more towards the Pacific, where the Empire of Japan has reared its head and firmly stepped into our sphere of influence. Although I personally don't necessarily agree with this direction, this is what it is. Congress has also been raising worries about our lack of battlecruisers. Most of the major navies in the world are fielding battlecruisers, fast ships that can vastly outrun the relatively slow standard type battleships that we have. The only available design at this point is the Lexington class of battlecruisers, but given the economic situation, despite the US having the highest economic growth in the world, Congress is less than keen to spend the required amounts on these battlecruisers and has demanded a new design or modified design that would fit into the constraints. This is an older design, and we'll see if we can refit it to make it a little better. Well, given that we don't have actually any of these ships, we'll just change the design, but we'll call it a refit anyway. What do we have? We've got twin 5-inch turrets around the sides. We've got 3-inch turrets, anti-air guns somewhere around on the top here. And we've got an interesting mix of the twin and triple 14-inch guns. Now, these are meant to be not meant to take on enemy battleships. They are meant to be cruiser killers. That's what Congress is interested in, simply because right now enemy cruisers can sail with impunity outside of the range of our battleships or dip in and out, and we don't really have an awful lot that we can do about it. So these things were meant to go after cruisers. First things we do, we'll remove the underwater torpedo launchers. Got rid of those. Okay. And we'll redesign these ships a little bit. So let's get rid of the secondaries, and we'll get rid of the main guns for now as well. And we will see what we can put instead. Because if these are supposed to be cruiser killers, we can get the caliber down a little bit. If we're not actually interested in fighting enemy battleships, 12-inch guns should be a good enough caliber. So let's see if we can get ourselves 12-inch triplets onto these things, and what that looks like. That leaves us with 3,000 tons of displacement, and we've already drawn the cost down a little bit. But let's modernize everything else about this design. So let's get rid of the main towers and see what we can fit on here. Although these are pretty monstrous in their okay, that is massive, but we might be able to get the, which one was that? Was it this one? Yeah, this one. So if we put that as a superstructure, a bit more forward, we switch to oil fuel, natural boilers, and we'll see what kind of funnels we can fit on here. That would not be enough. That would not be enough either, engine efficiency wise. So we're going to need 2 funnels anyway. Let's go with something slightly smaller. Can we fit 2 of those in there? That would be a negative. Can we fit 2 of those in there? Come on. Where can I fit it? There, I can fit 1. But it looks like I can't quite fit another one. And we are actually, with natural boilers, a little low on engine efficiency, to be honest. Can't really fit 2 funnels onto these raised platforms here, which is quite annoying. So we could fit that thing on there and switch to induced boilers. Now, given that this is supposed to be a ship that's running away from cruisers, having an under 100% engine efficiency I'm not too keen on. It's a question of weight. We could put another 300 tons in there and go into 4 spoilers. And that would make that work. We do need a secondary tower. So, let's see, that's definitely too large. Too large. Too large. Don't quite want to put a cage mast back there, because we've sort of moved beyond cage masts. The problem obviously is that I can't fit that thing. So what if we put a larger rear tower on here? There we go. And instead we switch the 12 inchers to quad mounts. So that would be a rather interesting setup. So we go centerline guns, 12-inch quad, and we put 2 forward, 1 forward, 1 aft, and a single barbette forward. So it's something like that. And then we take another one of these. Can we fit that on there? We can actually. Does it look sane? Oh, I didn't want to do that. Undo. Just wanted to see if it looks somewhat sane. Yep, that looks sane. So unfortunately we've lost the funnel. So let's put that back there. There we go. And this rear superstructure does not really have mounts for anything, but this would now be a 12-gun ship, but with 3 turrets, and we're still within the weight limit, and the cost is somewhat lower. We could go back to induced boilers. Let's see what that's going to look like. So we go gear turbines. We can improve the armor scheme on the ship, and maybe we'll get the speed down to 30 knots, because that should be sufficient. What is the design speed of this hull? Can't actually check because I can't obviously change the hull on a refit. But that significantly reduces the amount of cost that we're having. So 30 knots should still be faster. And we're actually good on induced boilers with that as well. We're good on natural, not quite, but induced boilers would be enough. So dropping the speed down by 3 knots is making quite a significant impact. And we might even be able to get a smaller funnel on there. What do we need? That one would do actually. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with all that space in there, so I may as well just put that big thing in there. Maybe we can fit a couple of smaller guns onto this superstructure. We'll see. But we've got plenty of displacement left, so let's keep going. We can put that's 2 modern diesel engines will do. We probably want. Do we want an improved steering? We can put a better propeller shaft on. Semi-balance is probably not bad. Better barbettes. Although we do have to keep an eye on the price. We want to keep it below 400 million to make it acceptable for Congress. So this is not meant to be facing. This is not meant to be facing battleships. That would be going already above cost again. This is not meant to be facing battleships. This is a cruiser hunter. We could drop down the displacement to... Can we? No, we can't actually on a refit. So that would be something, and we can see if we can get deck torpedo launchers onto these, which would give them some form of let's see, what would that look like? Triple deck torpedo launcher. Yeah, we could fit deck torpedo launchers on these. Twin quad launchers, maybe. In the rear here, where there's no big use for anything else. So we've got some torpedo launchers on these Lexington class battlecruisers, and then we are going, given that these are cruiser hunters, they just need some way of defending themselves from destroyers. We could go with 5-inch triples. Can't really go wrong with these. Alternatively, we could go lower and try a 4-inch. 4-inch is 105mm, isn't it? And 3-inch is the... yeah, I think so. So we could go down to 4-inch triple barrels. Just save a little bit on cost and weight again. Keep it under 400 million. What's the cost difference between the quad launches and the triples? I think significant. So that's 380. No, it's not that bad actually. We can totally do that. There. Gun. Oh yeah, they do impede the gun a little bit. So let's push them back a bit more. Come on. There we go. That's too far. That's about as far as we can go. So the rear turret's got a little arc issues here. We can pull that a little bit further to the rear and then it has no more problems. And then we can go with 4-inch triple secondaries and can plaster some of these in there and see what we can fit in. So we can fit a turret here relatively nicely. A second one, that's terrible angles there, and we can still fit maybe 2 forward. How are we looking cost wise? 380 million. Still decent. So we fit one here, and we can, and I need to actually look at it from the top, so I make that somewhat aligned. That looks decent. So there we are, and we've got a good set of. Can I move that forward a little bit? Maybe it's slightly unbalanced. This one's a little closer than the other one. So let's make these a little bit more forward still. Can we not? Not sure why we can't. I mean, they're not in the way of the barbette, are they? Oh well, it is what it is. Okay, so we've got the secondaries. We can potentially fit some casemates in, but they are usually unreasonably heavy. Can we fit 2-inch secondaries anywhere? Anywhere in this weird superstructure bit? Not really. We could probably fit 3-inch casemates anywhere. Yeah, we could fit 3-inch casemates into the superstructure here, but not sure it's worth it. Maybe a couple of 2-inchers into the superstructure for point defense, but they don't have the greatest arcs either. So yeah, it's probably not worth the weight. We'll just we'll leave that. Not worth the displacement. So what else have we got? We have 20-inch torpedoes, and we cordite TNT. That's all looking good. And with these shells, the guns have a 23-inch penetration at 10,000 meters, or 25-inch at 7,500 meters. That should be enough to deal with cruisers, but would be struggling against battleships. Now, what we could do is we could go to armor-piercing capped shells, which would reduce the amount of damage. So that's 488 versus 570. Yeah, I think we're good actually. We'll leave them at standard shells. We've got the nose fused HE. Is that still enough to blab destroyers in the side? Could get a little, might go to base fuse. Yeah, I think that's the better choice here, because we're really not that much after the firing HE at things, unless we are facing enemy battleships. But that would give the Lexington design a new life. We're still below 400 million. Let's see if we can still fit a better rangefinder in. We can. We can get the radio direction finding on, and improved. Do we need an improved sonar? Given that we're chasing cruisers, maybe. So let's put that in, and then we can increase the armor plating a little bit on these things. So let's see the 12-inchers. They get 12-inch and 6-inch on top. Barbette at 16, I'm happy with. The 4-inch guns can get 4 and 2. And the Citadel armor, well, we'll see what we can still fit within our budgetary means. We've got a pretty severe forward weight offset, so that's maybe something we need to deal with first. Can we move that all back a little bit? Just as much as we can, so we don't have to balance it with the armor too much. Okay, that gets in the way of these turrets. Let's see. So we'll pull that turret main gun back a little bit, and then these ones are not happy anymore. Can we still fit them in somewhere here? There we could still fit them. So that works. They've still got good arcs, and we've got the forward weight offset down to 3.1%. Gun arcs on the main guns are acceptable. The rest we can balance through the armor. So we've currently got 10-inch main belt armor, which should be enough to protect us from cruiser caliber guns. But a little bit more would not be amiss. We could go, actually 10-inch is as far as we can go with the main belt. So there's not an awful lot else we can put. We can get the deck armor a little thicker. So we get 4 and 4, and we can use we've got plenty of displacement to spare, honestly. We can use the aft deck armor to balance the ship out. There we go. 4.8 inch. Let's go up to 6 inch for the main deck. And yeah, that's as far as she goes. We can throw what we can into the Citadel armor here, and we'll see how much that is going to be. We've still got 5,000 tons to spare. Not really, but we are at 450 million now, so it's definitely getting too expensive, and I think that's due to the armor. Now let's keep an eye and see, get that all rounded off a little bit. Let's reduce the cost on the deck armor a bit. Do we need 12-inch on the conning tower? Maybe not. That gets us 2 million down. Let's bring the main deck back down to 5-inch. That helps a lot. And we still got a bit of forward weight offset. We can just reduce a bit here. We are still quite overpriced. Let's bring the deck armor aft deck down to 4, and 4 deck down to 3.5. Again, we're just facing cruisers here. We might reduce that a little more. There we go. We're down to 416. Let's make that 3-inch forward deck. And what else have we done? I think the coincidence rangefinder was causing us a lot of cost. No, it's not that bad actually. I mean, we're slightly over cost, but it's not too terrible. And I think all in all, it's a decent battlecruiser design. 30 knots and 18,000 kilometer range. That is a workable solution for this class of ship. Why do we have an aft weight offset now? Have we not been paying attention? Let's get the forward deck up again. There we go, 3.2. There. And 416 million is close. We can get 3 million out by sacrificing some power, but I'd rather not, because power, need to chase after cruisers. I think that's a viable design at this point. So 400 million, just over 400 million, slight overruns. Congress is used to that from our perspective, and we have a somewhat capable cruiser killer who probably really doesn't want to be shot at by battleships, but looks quite snazzy and has a fair amount of 12-inch guns. So let's save that design, and then we can get that under construction, because having the dockyard workers busy and getting our economy to grow is a good thing. Now, our finances are not great, so getting the production going just now is probably not the best idea. That said, with the Japanese situation deteriorating, we currently have the Arizona and the Pennsylvania stationed in Manila, and we have the USS New Mexico stationed in Davao. I think I'm going to send a second battleship from the west coast down south. And in the light of Japan selling Momo-class destroyers to Colombia, I think we're warranted in sending another New Mexico class from the west coast, and we'll send the Idaho. So we'll send that to Davao as well. Idaho, move, and we can probably send one more destroyer. I think we've got two more. Yeah, we've got another Porter class here. So let's send the Phelps as well to join in Davao, and that'll reinforce that a little bit. Now that's done, and we will observe how the political situation is evolving. Obviously, with the ships at sea, our financial situation is still hanging a bit by a thread, but worst case, we will have to pull some funding out of R&D and see that we can keep our naval funds balanced. But we'll deal with it as we go. Hopefully, the economic growth will outstrip our expenses eventually. Our allies in Persia keep up their shopping spree. The revenue from their oil sales are enabling the government to build a veritable force, and they have ordered 3 Oakland-class light cruisers. Given that they're once again willing to pay 25% in advance, I think this is a good deal for us.